Hello, welcome back everyone to Definitely Gaming, and welcome to yet another one of these weird videos I said of me going over a replay of a game I had. Now, in this game, I didn't actually end up doing all that great, but there's a lot of things I kind of want to point out to myself and to you guys of things I feel like I did very well. So we're gonna kind of be going through the game pace by pace. It's gonna be a little slow, but bear with me. We will get to the end of it. So as per usual in the start, I'm actually playing as Wukong. My team's over here, and I got put inside jungle. Whatever, it happens. It happens actually more often than I get support. I actually feel like the amount of practice I'm getting inside jungle is actually making me very comfortable for realizing when ganks are going to be happening a little bit better, to how the enemy is going to be roaming. So as per usual, since I don't depend on other people to place down wards, I always place down my own ward and then start going towards the actual buff on the opposite side. This makes sure that if the enemy is going to be doing a, let's say like buff, Gromp, or Krugs into an invade to grab my opposite side buff in order to get level 3 and then wait for me in camp because it'll be level 3 against level 2. It kind of keeps that from not happening just because you're more likely to see him to start invading.
Minions have spawned.
Overall, in the start, game wasn't all that intense. It's actually kind of boring. People are just kind of like, he's legit just in the middle lane, just sitting there. He hasn't placed a ward or anything, hasn't moved anywhere. He's also sitting in the middle of lane. The only people that are actually like not sitting in lane is the support and the jungler. And then of course my side is off on doing kind of the thing that they're supposed to be doing. I kind of wish that more people would place down a ward, but otherwise my team actually did pretty well. Top was helping me out, mid was over by my blue side, bottom was over by my blue side. I was actually super glad to see that. So anyways, I decided like, all right, well, it's Talia. I believe Talia is a full clear champion. So I opted to go in for a 3 camp level 3, which is why you see me taking out Krugs immediately afterwards. Krugs are actually, I think they are the highest EXP giving mob. I could be wrong. It's either Krugs or Gromp. It's one of the two of them. And I want to say it's Krugs because I think Krugs also give the most gold. But anyways, I clear out Krugs pretty quickly and then I immediately go to my blue. Now, I thought Talia was going to start blue. I'm actually super surprised to see that she started red. I mean, as you see, she's super low on health. She's low on mana. She's getting her ass beat. If I knew that she started on red side, I could have invaded her blue and killed her. And taken her buff. She would have been so far behind, it's not even funny. But because she opted to not go for blue, because blue, one blue gives you ability haste. 2 blue gives you mana regen. So for on spell-based champions like Talia, I personally would go for blue first, which is why I did what I did. I immediately go to invade her red. Now thinking she could possibly be there, so I didn't know. And I saw her pop on the map. I'm like, oh, okay. I ping that her red's missing, so she did a reverse clear of what I thought she was going to do. It's unfortunate that my Ashe ends up dying, but I'm like, not much I can do for bottom. Like, they're underneath turret. Grant, they're low, but you have to think Vel'Koz has a way to stun you, or not stun you, but he has a way to slow you and knock you up. Then you also have to think Aphelios has a way to snare you, so trying to get a kill off on bottom lane is super risky. So I'm like, just not going to do it, especially if they're going to be, excuse me, especially if they're going to be underneath tower. So I just opted to go back to farm. She just realized that I ended up taking Gromp, or not Gromp, but Scuttle. Oh. That's unfortunate of my, mid lane. That was actually pretty good on her for realizing what he was going to go and do and trying to get the gank off. She actually ended up getting a flash, which is really good for her. I'm kind of thinking like, do I gank? Do I not? And I'm like, I'll try. So I go to try and gank, and he didn't get that off on me. I got some additional damage, which allows him to get more pressure in lane. But I did not know that he had a ward. I don't think we got a single ward ping, which is unfortunate by my mid lane. And I end up pinging that ward because, like, why else would he be moving back when the wave is up near our tower? The only reason why he'd be moving back is because he saw me. So I'm like, there must be a ward there. So I pinged it. I don't know how we saw her. Because as far as I'm aware, there was nothing over there for us to be able to see her. Then our team got a kill. Oh, it was our top lane. Top lane. Oh, that's right. Top lane was actually doing pretty good against the Shen. So on my first back, I ended up getting a Sheen, a longsword, and a red ward. Because I realized they're starting to place down wards, which means I'm going to need something to either take out that vision or compete against the vision. So I ended up going towards Gromp, and I think I also tried to look for a gank on bottom side since they were super hard pushed. Because Gromp at this low of a level is basically a free reset. And I also end up getting my Ember Knife too. I don't like that pause. I'm gonna have to get better when I dash in on Scuttle to not have that pause. I tried to keep the Scuttle more pushed to my mid side because my mid side obviously had the advantage. They want me to go in for a gank, but I'm like, nah, they saw me, so. And I'm pinging that I'm going to be leaving. Mid just seems to be a farming fest, which is really weird considering Victor's a very good poke champion. But I guess Swain, if you get caught by Swain, you end up taking a lot of damage. Team's doing alright. He ended up getting killed by Shen, which is a little upsetting, but it's fine.
Blue team double kill.
So I kind of figured that all my stuff is kind of spawning at once, which is really not great as a jungler because that means you have to be clearing out your top side and your bottom side at the same time, or you're going to risk getting invaded. So I just like, okay, I'm going to take some of the more priority things like my red, and then I start taking Scuttle. My dumb ass starts taking Rift Herald, not Scuttle, Rift Herald. I mean, it ends up working out for me because I saw Talia down here, but at the same time, it's like you had 3 camps up. You only have 2 now, but you had 3 camps up. I saw that Shen was trying to go in, so I'm like, all right, I'll help you out. I actually ended up doing really good damage against him, and for some reason she ended up knocking me away from her like tiles instead of into the tiles in order to take more damage. Really weird, but maybe it was just a misclick. So we ended up taking her Gromp. Looks like our top ended up having a ward down, so we end up seeing her take her blue, which is you should be doing. You saw us over on that side, so might as well clear out the camps there so you don't get counter jungled. That was a super good arrow. Oh, you still get him. Very nice. She ends up taking that scuttle, which has very little worth since junglers can just easily walk around it. Like, as I'm doing right now, I'm literally walking around the scuttle. I'm like, maybe she placed a ward too? I'm like, and then I saw no ward. I'm like, what? So she ends up clearing out her turkeys as I have Rift Herald and I'm pushing mid. Now, I just drop Rift Herald and I leave because I don't want to be taking more plates than I already am. Plus, I knew with Swain coming back and Talia somewhere nearby, it wasn't going to be a good choice. I just kind of wanted the extra gold. I was being a little greedy. It's actually pretty bad of me. I didn't see the ward getting placed and I didn't ping it. I should have seen the ward. So I end up seeing that ward though. So at least my mini-map vision is pretty good. I mean, I could have done better with that one, but hey, whatever. Oh, I remember this. I remember this. This must have been so freaking tilting to her. So she ends up taking dragon. I'm like, okay, well I really haven't seen Talia anywhere, and my bottom is kind of missing, so maybe I can grab Skull or something because I saw Scuttle was coming up pretty soon. I end up sweeping and seeing her. I'm like, I know damn well what you're doing. So I dash in. I take dragon. Does she even have smite up? Like, where are you? She didn't have smite up for another 22 seconds when I stole it. So I literally just came in, stole it, walked out.
Let's shake things up.
I think that was a super risky play, but so fucking worth. Because I'm like, okay, I see that the dragon is already at 700 HP. She hasn't smited, so she most likely doesn't have smite, and or her smite's not upgraded yet. I think her smite is upgraded though. Yeah, her smite is upgraded. So if she had smite, she would have already smited it. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna dash in, take it, run. And worked out very well in my favor, besides for that my support ended up dying. But trading a support for a neutral objective like that, I'll do it any day. Even if I'm the support.
A summoner has disconnected.
I didn't know that he ended up disconnecting.
A summoner has reconnected.
Where are you? Are you dead? Yeah, you're dead. So I'm like, maybe he's gonna push hard. Shen is a difficult one to gank.
Shut down.
Because I saw that Teemo's literally just chasing him down. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can get him to fight. And then he just dashes out. So I'm like, whatever. He ended up using his dash, took a shit ton of poke from Teemo. He is basically going to get poked out by Teemo for the rest of that lane until he goes to reset. I end up going into their jungle and placing a ward. I think this is one of the things that really shut down this Talia. This one ward. I literally, like, not even shitting you. I think this one ward literally shut down Talia. Like, for the rest of the match. So I'm like, okay, well, I see Blue's not there. Maybe Blue will be up by the time the ward gets up. I can see the Gromp. So it's like, I know she has at least one camp on that side. She ends up wasting so much time just going back and forth here rather than just farming up. Like, she knew I had a ward there. She knew I left. She should have taken the Gromp, then rotated to the Krugs. But instead, she starts clearing out the Krugs, and I clear out my red. I'm like, okay, well, she still hasn't done anything over there. So I'm like, you know, fuck it. I'm going to head over there. I see blue. I want the blue. So I'm like, I'm going to go and invade. She's on bottom side as she has a freaking buff up. So I get a blue for free. I'm like, okay, my buff. I think I also immediately start going for Shelly too, yeah. Because top lane is gone. Top lane is actually dead, so I have Prio up there. The only thing I really have to worry about is Swain coming in. Unfortunately, my Teemo ends up trying to back. Is he backing? Is he pushing? Are you backing or pushing? You're pushing now. So at least he's applying more pressure towards top side, so that's good for me. And I end up getting a free Shelly out of this. No one contested me. Mid didn't roam up. No one knows I'm even doing it. So I literally just get another Shelly for free.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
I'm like, oh, my bad. I should have been on my character. So he tried to activate his ultimate and then flash away, but a lot of people, maybe a lot of people, me personally, I didn't really know about it until a little bit later. But the Q buff on Wukong actually increases his range. Yeah, the next attack gains an additional 175 range. So that's like a 50% extension to his auto attack. It's literally a 50% extension. Oh no, it doubles. It doubles his range. That's even more than I thought it was. That's actually really a lot better than I thought. So we end up using Shelly. We crunch 2 towers. We end up getting a kill on Talia. So she doesn't have blue. She just got killed. So she ends up losing a lot of pressure on the map. Like I said, that one ward that allowed me to take away her blue and then start going for other things on the map, I think that's what really shut her down. So I knew their jungler was down. A lot of their people were trying to push other lanes. So I'm like, okay, so this should be a free dragon. I end up seeing that someone ended up boarding it, but I have Smite and they don't have a jungler. So who's really going to contest it? Unless I really botched the Smite. Since I was kind of low in health, I wanted to get Gromp, and I think I was also sitting on a decent chunk of gold. I want to say I was around like 2,000 gold right now. So I was just being greedy, trying to clear out the rest of my camps before Talia can get back up and running. So they end up having to throw 3 people top in order to take care of a team. When realistically, if you have someone that's spell-based like Talia, Teemo shouldn't be too much of an issue, especially if she's able to keep just enough tether range where she's able to strike him with rocks and not be hit by the darts. Which I think it's a very small tether range for that, but it's still doable. Especially since you can move and throw the rocks at the same time, means that you can continuously create that gap while still striking them. Yeah, I must be sitting on a decent chunk of gold. Because you have to think 2 towers, a kill, and then I end up doing a half farm on, or like another re-clear of all my farm inside the jungle. Like I must have been sitting on a shiny penny. I actually ended up finishing up Divine Sunderer. Oh no, I've already had it. So I got my boots. This is taking me way too long. Caulfield's hammer into Kindle Gem. Yeah, that's almost 2,000 gold. That's like 2,100 gold, just about. No, 2,500. Because you have to think, I had to upgrade my magic boots, which is at least 450 for the null magic. Then the actual upgrade on it, which I think that's 800. Kindle Gem is, I want to say Kindle Gem is another 800, so that's 1,600. Caulfield Hammer is 1,100. I was sitting on almost 3,000 gold. Holy crap. So I ended up invading her blue side again, seeing if anything was up. Unfortunately, there wasn't, so I'm like, not much of a time waste, because I'm kind of just sitting by, seeing if I can get a gank off in mid. Most of my jungle's down anyways, so it's like I can clear out red, which is what I opted to do since it felt like I wasn't going to be able to get a gank off on Aphelios. There was just something inside of me just telling me like yeah, Aphelios is there. It looks like he's alone, but for something inside me is like, nah, just wait. So I'm like, well, what kind of wait you telling me to do? Like, telling me to wait to not kill him, wait to just where he's in a more vulnerable spot. But yeah, actually, there ends up being like almost 3 people around him inside that little area. I'm like, all right, well, bottom's pretty low. We can just crunch on that. They actually don't even end up needing my help. So I was just there to kind of get some gold, which is, it's only 100, but it's a nice little chunk. I really need to get better about not smiting the scuttle when I'm not being pressured to. I mean, grant I had 2 smites up, so it's not like that big of a loss, but if you end up only having 1 smite, using on an uncontested scuttle really isn't worthwhile, in my personal opinion. So I'm seeing that 2 people are topside. I end up seeing that Aphelios was somewhere around bottom. I think he disappeared at this time, but he was somewhere around bottom. Yeah, so I see 2 people top, 2 people bottom. So I'm like, I'm just going to push the shit out of this. So as of right now, I'm threatening to take an inhibitor, and that's all they see. So I end up getting Vel'Koz to go back and try to take it. I ended up clearing out that ward. They didn't ping me for some reason when they saw me on the map. Because they saw me going through this bush, and then they saw me here. But they didn't ping me either time. So just because I knew everyone was up, I kind of wanted to pull the dragon slightly out of pit, just far enough so that Talia's rocks wouldn't reach. Which, as you saw when I was towards the backside of the dragon, her rocks were actually almost close enough to strike me, but I was still just barely out of range. Unintentional, but a very good positioning for the dragon on my part. So I see my team's trying to dive, so I'm like, alright, well, we can try to fight. At this point, I was feeling very strong. I felt like a menace when I did appear on the map because I was appearing in places where they had very little, no defense for like heroes or towers and stuff like that, which a lot of people don't realize how much of a threat Wukong is against towers. Like, yes, you have a tower, but something I ended up figuring out while playing is your clone will also strike a tower, but when your clone does a basic attack strike, it reduces the cooldown of your Q, which your clone can Q with you. So when you place a clone down next to a tower, you can pop your Q on the tower, get massive damage off, but then your clone will also start striking the tower with you. Yes, the clone does a little bit less damage, but you can possibly get off 2 Qs on the tower, which is a huge tower chunk. I'm not sure if you can break the armor on a tower because the Q is also an armor break. Yeah, 30% armor removal. I'm not sure if you can armor crack the tower, but still, like, the additional 155 damage, like, it basically doubles my AD per strike. At this point, we're just so far ahead in gold that they really can't do much. Now, not to say that they can't win. This is low elo on NA servers. Like, people are going to throw. They're going to make comebacks. Shit's going to happen. So, you kind of have to be careful. So although I'm feeling very good, I'm still farming because I'm not full build yet.
A summoner has disconnected.
It doesn't help that he keeps disconnecting. That also might have been
A
our reason why
summoner
we
has
won.
reconnected.
So I end up seeing 2 people down, so I'm like, maybe we can go for it, but we didn't have enough people nearby. And not enough people were pushing for the tower.
A summoner has disconnected.
But yeah, they end up surrendering. And that's how I won that game of League of Legends as Wukong. So there's a lot of things I did that I really liked and I want to see myself do more of, such as placing invasive wards. I want to counter jungle a little bit more. I actually didn't do a whole lot of it unless we were already pushing in. I kind of want to be more proactive on the invading for counter jungling. But overall, I think I did pretty well. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video today. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below and I'll do my best in order to get back to you guys. You guys have a great day. Remember to be safe.